Hi everyone. So last week I was talking about how I decided to share the stories of people I met, amazing stories from them and very inspirational. And so for today I also have my second guest. She's a front-end developer as well as a web designer, and she just started her digital nomad life or her digital nomad career, and so she's going to share more about that. So let's welcome Sasha Leal. Hi Sasha. It's so good to meet you. So yes, you just started doing digital nomad or like decided to go for that career path. Can you tell us more about how you went there, or like what makes you decide to actually do it and take the leap?
Yes. Well, thank you for having me, Kris. Digital nomadism. So I think we know when we have a typical job, we have 2 weeks only a year.
Yeah.
And to do any travel, any vacationing. So I've been reading a lot about in-demand skills and how some people work in a different way, like asynchronously and remotely. So I started to work remotely in San Francisco in a startup, and I tried to have a little test on digital nomadism by going to Mexico for a while. But now I really wanted to do like international travel. So I decided to come to Asia, and just at the same time, I'm kind of starting a new business and being a freelancer. So it's a lot of journeys together, being a freelancer, being a digital nomad in Asia. And I think it's going well. I think it's going great. There's a lot to learn.
Yeah.
So I think the freedom of not being in one single spot, but still thriving career-wise, that's what I want. I don't want to give up having success or some form of a rewarding career where I can do something I like and make money,
Yeah.
and at the same time visiting different places, discovering new cultures. Yeah.
That's really amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And do you have that aha moment also when you finally took the leap of doing the digital nomad, like weighing some options and thinking about how, like, you are thinking of deciding, like, yes, this is it, I'm ready. What is, like, can you share more of that moment as well in your life where you finally decided to do this? I'm doing this.
I think it came in different stages, because at first I had stored all of my things in a friend's house in San Francisco in her garage. And the date when she had to sell her house kind of was rushed. Everything changed. So I had to donate everything I owned, because it wasn't much, but still, so that was part of it. And I had already decided that becoming a front-end developer was something I should explore, or being a UX designer or something along those lines, something that allowed me to do better financially and to be in the informational wave of things. I think it's important to see where the economy is going and how we can fit in this panorama, like e-commerce or copywriting, digital marketing, to kind of get some skills of this sort to be able to have better jobs. And so I think I decided one time I was gonna quit my job. A friend talked to me and said, "You're smart enough to do these type of jobs.
Yeah.
You can learn the skills you don't have." So I started learning development and getting more interested about UX and product design and all these things, more into the digital, less of the physical, right? So then I already loved traveling, so I don't know, it just made a lot of sense to me knowing other people who have done it, people who have been in Bali and who have traveled to, I don't know, stayed for a season in Thailand or Vietnam. So it helps to know people who have done it and get encouraged. Yeah.
Yeah. I know it's very overwhelming to actually do it. Do you have those like fear before you do it, and like how you handled it? Like, do you have even like some time where before you actually flew here or flew to the first country you went to? Like, do you have any fear of like, oh, unknowns, uncertainties, new culture, new place, languages, and how do you cope up with it? Like, how do you handle it, and how do you just talk to yourself like, I can do this, I'll just do it like this, I'm ready, and if this happened, I just have to like do this instead and learn more about them, so, you know, something like that.
I think maybe socially I'm not so too worried, because I tend to be the first one who reaches out for people. So I know that if nobody's talking to me, I little by little, like, I'm taking rejection, or knowing that like it's okay that you're not gonna be likable to everyone, or not everyone is in your same mindset. So even though you get together, you might as well feel not well connected because you don't share many things in common. I think there's beauty in both. If you meet someone who has nothing to do with you,
Yeah.
you still learn something, but it might not be the same companionship as of being friends with someone who has a lot to share, a lot of common things with you. So I think I think I'm not extremely anxious about not having friends. But I would say I do get scared sometimes that I might fail, right?
Yeah, we all
But I think it's pretty much in my mind that failure is part of success. So if I fail, I think also I've lived as sort of like as an immigrant in the States before I had this tech job, and before I had other jobs that like customer representative person stuff, like in an office. I've had jobs such as a nanny, working at a restaurant as a waitress, you know, I've had different jobs. So I feel, okay, what's the worst scenario? That I don't find any jobs in my field. I know how to survive. Like, I'll survive somehow. What's the difference between going to Asia and staying in Mexico or in the States? Or I feel it's about the same thing, especially now that we can find some opportunities online, or we can find some exchange opportunities, such as house sitting, pet sitting, or we can talk to our community and say, hey, I have these skills with someone, sort of like we could
like
find,
swapping some services.
Worst case scenario, you know, it's like, well, if I don't find what I'm looking for, it's taking me longer, at least I could use other tools and resources to spend less money and make these happen. And I really like when you said like failure is just like part of success. It's really amazing. Just want to point that out. And you mentioned also about like just using all your resources. Like, do you have some tips or like 3 things that you can point out that you are currently doing of saving and in traveling as a digital nomad and working as well at the same time? I would say to explore if there's something you see yourself doing, such as house sitting. There's something called Trusted House Sitters. So I have a membership there. I think sometimes it could work. Some people have stayed for 1 month or 2 months somewhere, and that puts you in a nice neighborhood and connects you to community. And it could be a good opportunity for you to not have to spend that much, right? And also work away. Sometimes I've done it one time when I exchanged photography services in exchange for staying in these Airbnb and getting food as well. So it could be something you could do part-time in case you have time availability. Because I'm from the US, basically, well, banking and phone services matter, right? So researching what suits you best. For example, for me, it was having a card that is ATM free, like ATM fees free. Having a card that gives me some cash bonuses.
Yeah.
So I kind of discovered two different ones, and they gave me cash bonuses, so I spend way less than I would have, because I got, after spending 500, I got 200 back.
Yeah.
So that helped me, gave me a little push. As well, tell everyone that you're trying to make this. I mean, not everybody will accept it, but maybe the like-minded people, to say, hey, I have these skills, I'm trying to support myself while I also do travel.
Yeah.
So some friends might admire your drive and your assertiveness, and they might want to help you.
Yeah, and it really surprises you when you actually do it. Like, people are nicer, and it's just like your fear that's like, oh no, what would she think, or what would he think if I reach out like this, or if I do this? And yeah, that really makes sense if you just like put yourself, like, even for introverts, there's like really a way for you to travel and save, and at the same time start your digital nomad career. And for you, what do you think would be like an advice in your own experience for those who also aspire to be a digital nomad?
To make a plan, to have some risk, but not too much, according to what you feel, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to put yourself in a very high risk. So making a plan, making a to-do list. If you need more skills, get them. If you need more courage, maybe see a therapist, or meet more people who are doing digital nomadism, or people who are doing a remote job. Like, start by something small, not the whole thing, maybe.
Yeah, that's really good. And for a front web developer, or like for a web designer point of view, as it is what you do as a freelancer, what would you give an advice to those business owners, especially maybe startups or solopreneurs who are maybe in a tight budget, or just doing most of the things in their business by themselves? Like, what kind of like advices that you can give them, or like, tell them or suggest that they would do first, or like the best way to maybe save money for their business, and the like?
It depends the size you are, but if you can afford positioning yourself in the digital world, do it, right?
Yeah.
And try to match those, the essence of what you want to portray visually, that also is rounded with the type of service, with how you treat your employees, that you can see this essence not just in a business card, but you can see it all along the business, right? That would be ideal, to have some values, to have some ethics, to not only go for the money, but have a very strict, very set mission of why you're doing this.
And do you think there is like also one thing that they can keep in mind when actually doing their branding, to show what else their products and services is about, and when making or creating their branding, like maybe it be logo, colors? Do you have any suggestions for business owners in that aspect? Like, maybe if you want to be bolder, you should do red or something. I'm not very particular with branding, but do you have any advice in that part of the business?
I think if you are working in partnership or collaboration with a designer, maybe just jump in and feel uncomfortable, because they will ask you a lot of details, and you might think it's their job to give you all the colors and everything, but sometimes it's also about who you want your company to be. As if it, like a psychologist, like, they cannot solve your marital problems if you don't talk to them. So just get comfortable with opening up, with just telling everything you like and not, and also trust their process. And see what, don't be so how do you say that, like, you don't want something extremely fast and to the point to just do the sell, but really explore,
lower the quality of what you portray, the products and stuff like that.
Give yourself the time to explore what you want to achieve with your brand.
That's really valuable. And it's been amazing, and I've been also learning more about like this and digital nomad. I mean, I've been doing it as well, but it's a very different way if I have it in other person's perspective like you, because you have a different drive than me, and that's really amazing. So I guess I would just ask ending questions. What is your quote or your favorite quote?
I think the world is of the brave.
Oh, I like that.
Belongs to the brave.
Yeah, that's just match your branding. Yeah, and I guess the last one would be, how would people reach you? Like if they're also aspiring, digital nomads who want to ask more about things, or like are scared and just want to know what you could give them advice, or for business owners who also need front end services or web designing, where can they reach you or where can they find you?
Yes. Right now I'm on my Instagram as Sasha is digital. Sasha.is.digital.
Yeah.
And soon I'll be posting on digital.outlier, which will be the brand.
Oh, is it live yet or not yet?
Not yet.
Oh, exciting. So I'm gonna put the details as well in the captions or in the comment below. So yeah, you guys check it out, and it's been amazing. Thank you so much, and see you guys on my next interview, whoever is another amazing person out there. Bye.